Well, what can we expect from the new special counsel appointed today? Michael Zeldin worked as an attorney at the Justice Department under Robert Mueller in the early 1990s and knows him well, and he joins us tonight. Michael, thanks a lot for coming on.
Thank you.
So what kind of prosecutor is this man?
Fair, honest, tough. He's a no-nonsense prosecutor. He derives his DNA, in a sense, from his service in the Marines.
Yes.
And he's accorded himself in a Marine-like way over the time that I've worked for him and his tenure in the FBI. You saw similar behavior. Straight, by the book, no nonsense.
So you worked for one of the relatively rare special counsel investigations that stayed to its original charter and that wrapped up at a certain date.
Right.
And didn't find anything.
Correct.
And conceded that.
Not only did we concede it, but we apologized to Janet Mullins, saying that she was improperly targeted with an investigation.
I don't think it's ever happened.
I don't think so.
In the history of special counsel investigations. So is that good news for the Trump administration?
Well, I think it's good news in the sense that I think Bob Mueller is the same type of prosecutor that Joe DeGenova and I were on our investigation, which is to say, if there's no there, he will say there's no there. He doesn't need for reputation or career enhancement to gin up some sort of tangential crime in order to make his reputation. He's made his reputation. And so if there's nothing there, he'll say there's nothing there, he'll close the lights, and it'll be over with. And that's good, because for the Trumps, it's good for America. Depending on, how it turns out, everyone gets to know that this was a fair and honest investigation, and whatever the findings are, and they can be relied upon.
I don't think people understand, who haven't watched this before, just how much power a special prosecutor, special counsel has. So the oversight, I'm not even sure where it comes from. The budget seems to be unlimited. The time frame is whatever you want it to be. What are the limits on the power of a special counsel?
Well, the limits are his mandate. There is a mandate that the Deputy Attorney General gave him, which is to investigate matters related to the campaign and any collusion with Russia, and matters that are directly attributable to that, and then a catch-all of any other things that they may find relevant to it. This is the rub where many independent counsels have gotten themselves waylaid. They've gone off onto this other tangents thing, and we haven't heard from them for years and years and years, with millions and millions of dollars spent. That's not Mueller. Mueller's going to look at his thing and say, here's my mandate. There are 4 or 5 things that I'm investigating. Whether or not there was interference with the election by the Russians, whether there was collusion with the Russians, perhaps whether or not there was obstruction of justice in this little back and forth between the president and Mr. Comey, whether or not Manafort, with his dealings with the financial transactions in New York, and whether Flynn, with his failures to disclose his dealings with Turkey and others. I think those are probably the 5 mandates.
That's a lot.
It's a lot.
So we're almost out of time, but I want your quick assessment on this. If this turns political, if Democrats start attacking Mueller, if perhaps the president starts attacking him via Twitter, these things happen, these things get political sometimes, as you've seen.
Right.
How will he respond to that?
I don't think it'll faze him one bit. I think that he has the courage of his convictions to just do his job independent of what the politics around him, what the politicians around him want him to do. I think he will, as I said, do his job, issue his report. If there are indictments to be had, he'll indict. If there are no indictments to be had, he'll issue his report to Rosenstein and say, this is why we're not going forward.
Well, he sounds like the ideal guy for the job.
I think both sides benefit from this. The Democrats get their guy. They can now, sort of calm down a little bit and let the processes go forward. And Trump has a guy who he can trust in the end will do the right thing based on the evidence, not on political persuasion.
Boy, I hope you're right. That would be really good for America.
I'm always right.
Michael Zeldin, thank you for joining us.
Thanks, Tucker.